to speak something about the new slavery. Slavery is the systematic exploitation of labor. It is a social economic system, and it is illegal, or it is an informal institution under which a person is compelled to work for another one. And normally they are not paid, and if they are paid, they have to spend their money for their bosses. Our question is, was labor really stopped at the beginning of the 21st century? Because nowadays the slavery is supposed to be illegal for the government, but we can see that a lot of children and a lot of persons are now slaves. Okay, at the book we read an article about the slavery, and it was called Unlawful Human Trade. It was about that there was a little girl who was named Julia Sinway. She was 10 years old, and she had to wake up at 6 a.m. to work, wash dishes, and do the housework. And after, she had to sell trinkets and hair accessories. She wasn't paid, and she's too little to do any work. No? In West Africa, there are 200,000 children that are trafficked. They are sold for like $15 or so. And most girls get to be prostitutes and domestic workers, and the boys have to be at coffee or cocoa plantations, or they are fishermen. In Africa is the country where is the highest rate of child labor. There is 41%, and the children are from 5 years to 14.
Okay, the article also said that the children, the families sold them to another countries, so they are forced to work. And they say that the child slaves are from the first countries, and sometimes parents sold their child, so they hope that they have a better life, but in some cases that isn't the case. And in Africa, in the past, they send the child in with richer relatives and they work. But nowadays they go to another lands, so in the most countries from Africa where they go is in South Africa and the Middle East. And there are institutions that are against the worst forms of child labor, and we are going to talk about them. Well, the first child labor is the sexual exploitation. The most are the girls, and they forced to do sexual things with men. And in countries, they call it the sex tourism, because the men that are rich come to countries that are really poor, and they search for sex with children, and it's really cheap and so. And the most countries where this sexual exploitation is in Brazil, the Dominican Republic, and Thailand. But also not only sexual tourism, so there are local men that search for sex, and there are all kinds of social and economic backgrounds. And this also exists in these ruralist countries. For example, in the USA, like 2,000 girls are forced to have sex with older men. And sometimes in poor countries, the family, the fabrics or so, lend money to the families, and the girls work must pay off this money. And sometimes also the children are betrayed, and so they are trafficked in another countries, and they must do these sexual activities. And this is really dangerous for kids, because they can have HIV, sexual transmitted diseases, and also drug addiction.
Well, what pregnancy?
Here, Mr. Teacher.
Well, here's a girl that has a lot of scars, and here are girls from Bangladesh. Do this work.
Also, the fault of their parents because they don't want them to study anything. These are also another picture about children working on the street. This is in China. She's collecting cotton. Here he is like getting things out of the trash. Here's a boy in Mexico cleaning the car, and here are two little boys.
So in conclusion, we can say that slavery isn't over. We said that slavery is a system of exploitation of labor, and these children are exploited, so the slavery is not over. And they abuse of the human rights of these children because they work a lot, and they are humiliated. And sometimes this interferes with their education, so it's not good, and education is a right. And also it's harmful to their own health, and this is intolerable. And this is a phrase that we find really interesting. Poverty cannot be ended immediately, but the exploitation of poverty must no longer be tolerated. Protection from hazard labor is not a non-negotiable right for all children.